Hello everyone, my name is Kyle and I will be telling you the story of the longest chase my dog ever led me on. Now, when I was about 10 years old, my dog Patch, who is a Jack Russell Terrier Chihuahua, had a crazy easy streak a mile long. And he would nip at you, he would bite at you, he would beg, he'd kick you off your seat, and he would try and steal your bed, just to name a few of the things he does. However, the most annoying thing ever is how he always tries to run away whenever he gets the chance. Now, I sort of blame myself for this because I didn't walk him as much as I should, but the problem is he's a spaz on a leash. Whenever he sees the leash, he goes like a crazy dog. And whenever you hit the leash on his collar, he just chokes himself till he almost dies. Or he just pops himself out of his collar and then just runs away. He does the exact same thing with a harness, which is crazy, and we are still not sure how he does it today. But regardless of that, one day when he ran away, he went up the road towards a little ranch. Now, what he had done is that he ran behind the house because there was no fence and started rolling around in the vegetable garden. Now, seeing him, I jumped on him as fast as I could because he's a slippery little bugger. Unfortunately for me, the neighbors use their own livestock's manure to fertilize their garden, and they had recently put down a fresh layer. And I was in sandals, so when I jumped on him, and not only my hands, but my feet were also covered in crap. So then I hopped out, that disgusted, I hopped out of the garden, and shook off my hands and feet, and by the time I was finished, he was off running down the street like a crap-covered bullet into the neighbor's yard, where a lab was out front. Now, at first it didn't seem so bad. They regarded each other for a moment, then all of a sudden, my dog attacks him for no reason. For some odd reason, he tries to kill every other dog that he sees. It's crazy. Just absolutely crazy. And since no one else was around, I had to break up the fight. When I shoved my hands between the two of them, guess who bites me? My dog. And then he starts running back towards the ranch. By the time I catch up with him and get over the hill, I see him squeezing under a fence and into the ranch's cattle corral. He starts harassing the cattle and starts a freaking stampede. I was sick, and I thought I was going to get in so much trouble. Then I did hit a stupid thing because I was concerned for him and jumped into the corral after him, chasing the cows. A couple minutes of that, he gets tired, rolls in a fresh cow pie, and then hops the fence, all 5 feet of it. Upset, I scrabbled after him, and then he decides to give me a run around our block a couple of laps, and then I finally catch the sucker. I grab him by his collar and start dragging him back home. Unfortunately, he didn't like that so much, and he started biting my arm repeatedly. And by the time I got to our street, I was bleeding. Not profusely, though, just minutely. Anyway, once we get up there, he just pops his head out of his collar and runs away up the street this time. Needless to say, I got really frickin' angry at that, and I started yelling things in the street no little kid should be yelling, and then took off after him. I followed him down the road to the park, and by the time I caught up to him, he was doing his business in the Veterans Dedicated Fuchsia Garden. And that's the true story. The Veterans Fuchsia Garden. So dang disrespectful. When I saw him doing that, I got so mad at him that I just yelled, "When I get my hands on you, you little piece of crap, I'm going to strangle your little neck!" And he apparently heard me because he ran away. He threw the park, giving me the slip around every which where, until he got bored of that and then decided to cut across traffic. I swear that my heart stopped for a sec because I swore he was gonna get run over like a raccoon, but he just dodged right through the cars as if it was Frogger. Needless to say, I couldn't run through traffic for a little bit, so I had to wait. By the time he and I could cross over, he was well into a whole other neighborhood, and I didn't know where he was. So I had to go around, ask people, nope, he wasn't here. Yes, he was here. He went over there. And then eventually I tracked him down to a person's house, and he was in the backyard playing with a German Shepherd puppy that was bigger than he was. They were having loads of fun. They were hopping around, romping and jumping and biting on each other playfully. At one point, the bigger dog had him pinned and was going all over him, which was kind of gross because Patch was still covered in crap. Ugh. But regardless, I knocked on the door of the house, and the woman that answered was surprised to find a 10-year-old kid covered in bites, bleeding, and smelling like horse manure, and asked, "Is that your dog?" And I just said, "Yes," because I was tired of this whole thing, and she gave me a leash, which was very nice of her, and I thanked her for it. Now, since he would just pop out of his collar, I knotted it up into a noose and just tightened it around his neck till he was wheezing all the way home. Although, he didn't offer any trouble on the way home, because apparently he wanted to go home too, after having his fun. Needless to say, I left him in the garage because he stank, and I told my dad what happened, and my dad just sighed, walked out into the garage, and shut the door. I didn't know what happened, but I heard 7 shades of swearing, and then a loud I had no idea what happened, but when I found him later that night, I found him under the cabinet, shivering and whimpering. Despite all that, though, he still ran away for several years later, although he never left our own neighborhood, and he never caused as much havoc as he did then. And so, the moral of the story is, walk your dogs, kids, otherwise he'll just drag you through a whole lot of crap. And in my case, literally.